a very able campaign manager, and he loves to tell me all of these, he loves to give me all these extra notes when we're on our way here. And Elba, I said, I don't need that. I am with mi familia. This is my family. This is my community. This is the community that I have worked in and fought for, and so I'm home. I don't need a big introduction. But I am in a runoff for mayor. And I'm going to start out with a story. I was with my Muslim friends the other night, Leo, and they said, there's an old proverb that says, if you don't have a seat at the table, it's likely because you're on the menu. And so you all get it. But I am frustrated and tired with our communities being on the menu. We have got to change that. This is our opportunity to elect someone who not only lives in the community, but cares about the community and has a proven record of advocating for our community. I have spent 30 years in the business world learning how to strategize and put together plans and make things happen. I was in charge of profit and loss, and I was a revenue center. I know how to do that. There is no question that my experience as a business leader is what makes me a good choice. But what makes me the absolute right choice is my work in the community and my love for the citizens of this city. There is not one neighborhood in the city of Fort Worth that I have not been in. There is not one community in the city of Fort Worth that I have not worked in. There is not one child in the city of Fort Worth that I have not prayed over, prayed for, prayed with, prayed on, prayed out of school. This is about bringing all of us together. I've been out block walking already this morning, and I know I'm tired, but I am passionate about fighting for this city. This is our opportunity to have a seat at the table. This is our opportunity to not be on the menu. My name is Deborah Peoples. You all know me. I am Tia Deb to many of you. I'm saying it back then. I love this community. I will fight like hell to make sure that your issues on the north side are my issues on the east side. I can sit up here and spout statistics all day long. There is no question. I got an MBA. I checked all the boxes that they say we should check. I went and got an education. I worked in corporate America. I did all the right things. But I never left this community. I never left the people that I love. I never stopped fighting for those. I am unapologetically who I am. They will try to tell you I have horns and 10 tails and that we're going to turn City Hall black and brown. That is not true. I am going to fight to make sure that City Hall includes us, that our small businesses and our community get treated with equity and fairness, and that we get an opportunity to thrive and grow our businesses. The city of Fort Worth is held up by small businesses like this restaurant right here. We should be doing everything, and I mean everything, to ensure that they thrive and grow because they are the heart of our communities. So I'm not going to stand up here long. I will take any questions that you have, but my name is Deborah Peoples. I have 30 years of experience as a proven business leader, and yes, I got gray hair on my head, but every gray hair I earned fighting for all of us. And I'm going to be your next mayor.
We're going to have about 3 questions per candidate, so we can keep the program going. So are there any questions?
Any questions? Any questions? Got a question over here. Now, let's keep in mind, this is not a forum, so the other candidates do not need to refute or rebut whatever's passed.
We're going to act as a manager too, so whenever, maybe somebody else can ask it. But one of the biggest issues that affects our community is immigration and immigration enforcement. So we just want you, for the record, to tell us your stand on, like, the county, and I know that's a different jurisdiction, and all these other ways of profiling. people, being, scared just for a traffic stop or going to jail, and all these bills that they pass, with regards to immigration, and I want to say undocumented people. We're not illegal. So I just wanted your stance, and I also want Maddie's. Thank you.
So you all know where I am. I don't have to sit up here and tell you about something. But I fought for sanctuary cities. I stood up and I fought with the city of Fort Worth in that lawsuit. You know my stand on SB4. You know my stand on 287G. People are people, and they deserve the same rights as me and you. And we're going to fight to be sure that we are welcoming everyone to this city. We are a majority city, but the majority of the citizens in this city don't look like Manny. They don't look like me. They look like you. And if we're stupid and not accepting that and understanding that, we are absolutely taking this city backwards. Did I answer it?
Question right here. Question right here.
You see, the other time you came, somebody said, well, you need to learn Spanish so you can talk to the community and help the community.
Absolutely.
It's not about color. It's not about race. It's about love. It's about unity. It's about us sticking together so we can beat this country that's treating people that are illegal, people that are hurt, people that are lost in the communities, so we can unite together, stand up as a family. Because if we break up against each other, guess what? We never going to unite together to help each other out. It's going to get worse.
So I love you for that, but yo necesito aprender a hablar español, sí, and I will do that because one of the things good leaders do is good leaders know their communities. They understand the culture in the community. I will tell you, I grew up in Odessa, Texas, with two black families and an all-Hispanic Catholic church. Yo comprende español, pero I'm afraid to speak it because it's all broken, but I will get better. But I absolutely understand this community. I understand the needs in this community. I am going to make sure that I fight like hell for this community first. The language will come along, but I'm going to make sure that I do right by my gente on the north side.
Yeah.
One more question. Una pregunta. All right, right
Of
here.
course, my brother Leo would have the question, the hard one too.
Unfortunately-
He's gonna ask a question to trip me up. Okay.
Unfortunately, my name is Carter.
Go on, yeah, go on.
Leo's
I'm
my
looking,
brother.
yeah, I know, Carlos. I'm looking. I introduced you to everybody, and then I keep saying
I
Leo.
know.
Okay.
My question is, you have come to my school,
Yes,
music, and you have interacted with my students,
yes,
but you came at your own free will,
yes.
and you came out to our community here in the north side. I was born and raised here.
Yes.
I've been living here 65 years, and I really appreciated, my students appreciated you coming out. You know, they were like, oh my God, this could be the mayor of Fort Worth. But I really appreciate it. My question is, I've seen you in our community. Yo sé que quieres hablar español,
See,
and you're going to do it.
see.
That's how you can understand us, because here in this community, we used to be called the minority. Not anymore. Not in Fort Worth. We're almost 60%.
That's right.
So, you know, I appreciate your effort, you know, to know our community. And my question to you is there's other communities like Poly
See,
and Southside that's also 60%.
see.
The last candidate didn't know that Poly was 60% Hispanic now.
That's right.
So are you going to reach out to those communities too? Those Hispanics that are in Poly and in Southside and in the West?
Absolutely. So my church, I'm Mother Mercy Catholic Church, sits on the corner of Carroll, and I can't remember the side street. That used to be a thriving hub for black economy. It is now probably about 60% Mexican American. I have walked that. I go to church there, but I have walked that street. I have walked all over Holland. This is about understanding and knowing our communities. And so, Carlos, I know that. I know these communities. I know where they are. She not going to want to tell us, but I know Norma, there's a thriving Latino community in Forest Hill. Well, while it's not part of Fort Worth, I've been out there working. We have to understand that the Latinx community is the majority community. We need to be making sure that we have representatives at the table and we are focusing on issues that are important to my community, and I am part of this community. There is no way that I would come to the north side and not come to your music store. You have to understand the makeup of a community. You have to pay respect to all of the many parts of the community, and I think you know I do that. I will continue to do that.
Okay. All right. Our next candidate is a graduate from UT Austin with a Bachelor in Arts. She also graduated from Texas A&M University School of Law with a law degree. She served as Chief of Staff for the Mayor of Fort Worth and the City Council. She was the founding CEO of Fort Worth Cradle to Career and Tarrant County through Partnership 3. Let's give a big hand to Maddie Parker.
Buenos dias, everyone. Wonderful to see you. Thank you for having me, first of all. I was joking on my way in that I kind of hit the scheduling jackpot this morning, which has not happened very often in this campaign because I have two playoff, a T-ball game and a Westside Little League team at 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock today for our boys. So that's why I've got my tennis shoes on. So excuse me for not wearing heels. But Deborah and I can attest we're sick of heels at this point, right? So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about who I am as a person and my family because I have not had the opportunity to be in front of you before. I think that's important that you know who the person is that's running to be your next mayor. And then I want to tackle a few big issues that I know that we've got to focus on in Fort Worth, Texas. So I was born in Austin to really wonderful, eclectic parents. They are self-professed hippies. My mom was a professional ballerina who retired to have her children. And then my father is a criminal defense attorney down in San Marcos. We moved to Hico to my family farm. I was third generation raised there. Very simple upbringing. No central air and heat, propane heaters. I had a party line until I was 14 years old. And I tell that story because that's who I am as a person. That small town with 42 kids in my graduating class, you had to learn really quickly. You need to put things aside, treat each other with kindness and respect, because the truth was you were going to see their grandmother at church on Sunday and you were going to hear about it, right? There's a few moments in my life that really profound. My father really struggled with alcoholism and didn't get sober until after I was in high school, where he went back to seminary, became a Methodist minister, and is about to retire from the seminary down in South Texas in Yorktown, where he has really given his second career in life as a man of God. My mother lives with us during the week to kind of help keep things on track right now, which has never been more important. I was lucky to get to go to UT on scholarships and student loans, and I was a scrappy kid that wanted it really bad. I worked every single day I was at UT. And I got lucky to get an internship at the state capitol where I sort of got my bug in public service and haven't stopped since. For 17 years, I've served behind the scenes at state, federal, and local. But I want you to know I did that intentionally. I may have been working for Republicans, but I was working for Fort Worth, Texas. I took a lot of pride in working with constituents. I was the one that answered your phone calls. I was the one that made sure that emails got answered, and we made sure that Fort Worth had what they needed. We have 3 beautiful children that we're raising here in Fort Worth. My daughter is 19. We have a 10-year-old son and a 4-year-old son who's soon to be 5 just in a few weeks. Our oldest has really taught me a lot of things about hard life, right? She was 10 years old when we met her. We met her through a foster care adoption system. She was raised in Hico and needed someone to step up and advocate for her. I'll admit to you, I was 26 years old and had a 1-year-old when I was finishing law school and working full-time when I met Shane Girl. And I understood really quickly what food insecurity meant, what neglect meant, and what when families were struggling, what it took to really get them back on track. And I tell you that not for sympathy. I tell you that because that's who I am as a mom, that's who I am as a community member, and that's how I'm going to lead the city of Fort Worth, Texas. We have big challenges we're facing in Fort Worth. Let's talk about our economy for a minute. As we emerge from COVID-19, we are better positioned than a lot of other places in this country, but we have major work to do. There's a lot of bragging going on about the unemployment rate lowering right now, but it's not lowering for our Hispanic and Black communities. They're hovering around 10%. And for women, we're where we were in 1950 right now. Women are out of the workforce in huge numbers because of what happened during COVID-19. I was blessed because I was able to work from home and juggle with Zoom school and everything else. But there are a lot of parents that didn't have the liberty to make that choice. And women oftentimes make the difficult decision to stay home with their babies, to make sure their families could be safe and secure during this worldwide pandemic. Fort Worth, Texas is over 900,000 people, but we only have 2 large corporations based here. It is time to step up. Only 190,000 people actually live and work in this city. We cannot be a bedroom community to Dallas, Texas. We have to compete on a global scale. And how do you do that? You do that by supporting the small businesses, especially in a place like Northside, that are the backbone of the community. Entrepreneurship and small business. The city council started that process. They used CARES Act dollars, over $50 million poured back into small business, but the work is not done. You need a city hall that listens more before they take action. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you I understand all the issues of Northside because I don't live here. You need to tell me what your community needs. I live in Ridgely North. We chose Ridgely North because of Bernie Park. We wanted a place where our boys could walk to the park every single day and make that a part of their existence. I won't stop until we have open space and parkland for every single neighborhood in this city that is welcoming, safe, and secure. It's a priority for me. Let's talk about education for a minute, shall we? So I left City Hall last year to found the Tarrant 2 and 3 Partnership because the work matters. We had the ability to travel the country for 2 years to understand what was working in urban education across this country. It's not working for students in Tarrant County right now. Only 23% of our students are making it to a 2-year or 4-year credential in an economy where 70% of the jobs require it. And if our kiddos are going up in a low-income household, only 14% make it. Folks, you cannot have a thriving economy if you don't invest in the students that sit in classrooms today. Our motto at T3 is simple. Student success is our success. That should be the model for Fort Worth, Texas. Let me tell you, I am pro-kid. I don't care if you choose private school, charter school, public school, homeschool. Every student in this city, in every single zip code, deserves the opportunity to succeed in their educational environment. And I won't stop till it's done. But here's the deal. Pointing fingers does no one any good. You have to be solutions-oriented, work alongside your school board leaders, your educators, your superintendents. There are 16 school districts in Fort Worth, not to mention charter, public, parochial schools. You need a mayor that understands what it looks like to really reform education, to be pro-kid. The last thing I'll say is this. We are an incredibly divided country right now. I want Fort Worth to be an example in the United States of what it looks like to work together. People from all different walks of life, multiple parties. It doesn't matter. Put your differences aside and focus on what unites us. Because I'm telling you, at City Hall, you gotta have 5 votes every given Tuesday, and soon to be 7 with your district team. And you have to be someone who can build consensus. And I have done that every single day of my career. I have the tenacity, the experience, and the style that it takes to lead the 12th largest city in the country. I'm a 37-year-old mother of 3 babies, but I am fierce when it comes to advocating for this city. We chose Fort Worth because we love this city and we knew it is the best place to raise a family. And I won't stop until every single parent in this community feels the love and support not only of the broad community, but from City Hall. That you feel access and transparency from your mayor and your city council members. That you feel welcome to come down there, not for a 2-minute presentation that's intimidating, because we have opened the doors in a way that make you feel supported and loved. I'm happy to take any questions, but most importantly, it has been an honor to run for mayor. It really has. Those of us that are tired on the campaign trail running this runoff can tell you, we feel like we're in a blender. But we're doing it for the right reasons. We're doing it because we love Fort Worth. Thank you for having me. I'll take questions. Thank you.
All right. Do we have any questions? Over there in the back? All right.
Let me get over there, Richard, so everybody can hear you.
Hello, Ms. Parker. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Richard Gonzalez. I need to ask you, the legislature is currently looking at passing some more restrictive voting processes. Do you think that really that there is such voting impropriety that we need new laws here in Fort Worth to make sure, as the Republicans have said, that we have a truly bona fide, accurate voting process?
So great question. There is so much misinformation about election integrity out there right now. It's hard to keep up with. If you remember, this started when during the presidential election with Trump and Clinton over Russian interference in election integrity, and now we're talking about local. I want to make sure that every single Fort Worthian that can vote feels welcome and has access to vote. I haven't read what's currently happening in Austin, but I can tell you people are concerned about what they're seeing coming down, and they're concerned that their vote is going to be suppressed. And so as a country, we really have to grapple with what it looks like to make people understand. Now, I will say this. There's, in Tarrant County specifically, you may know more about this than me, there's this misinformation about voting machines and what that looks like here. Those are real tangible things. We've got to get the misinformation and snuff it out completely. If you're concerned at what your state legislature is doing, I think you need to voice your concerns. You've got a wonderful delegation here that's really standing up to express that. But in the United States right now, we're never going to rest, I don't care what side you're on. If there are people that are concerned about the laws that are being made and feel like their vote is suppressed, we're losing. Because at the end of the day, you have people on different sides of the aisle that have very different opinions about that issue. And as mayor, I want to work together to put people on both sides, sit down and understand what does it take to make sure every single resident that's eligible to vote feels access in their way.
We have a question over here.
Hi, I'm not from Fort Worth, I'm from Dallas, but I still have to ask this question. What is your position on SB 4, 287, and sanctuary cities? Because you have a lot of Latinos and undocumented here in Fort Worth as well, and I would like to know your position.
So let's start with immigration in general. It's a completely broken system. And every mayor in this country needs to be advocating in DC to fix it and fix it now. People cannot live on the margins any longer. We have very, very close friends in the Parker family that are here and undocumented, and they live in fear every single day. And I tried for 2 years to help one of them find legal status, and there wasn't a pathway. You'll see me in DC every chance it takes. You need a mayor that's going to advocate in Washington, because complaining here is doing us no good. So let's talk about SB 4 for a second and how unfortunate that law was and how divisive it created problems here in my city, in Fort Worth, Texas. Unfortunately, we understood it was constitutional. How heartbreaking that is for those that it affected, right? Completely divided a community. And I know in Fort Worth we have to be forward-looking. You know what we messed up on? Fort Worth City and other cities in this state did not advocate strong enough for their immigrant communities in Austin to prevent that bill from passing in the first place. You cannot pass legislation that further divides us, and I'm going to watch it closely. And by the way, I've done this for 17 years. There's no one more prepared at a state, federal, or local level to make sure we're really working for the people in our communities. And the last thing, it's just basic economics. We need everybody in this city, regardless of legal status, able to work and perform in this economy. Our economy depends on it. We are missing the boat on that. And I've talked to so many immigrants, they just want to have legal status, right? Stop talking about divisive issues like amnesty. That's crap. Let's focus on the way for people to raise their families in safety and security. And I don't have all the answers, but I know there are people in this room that have spent their entire lives advocating for the immigrant community. And I can't wait to sit down with you in real meaningful conversation and we'll see if we get to work. Thank you, absolutely.
We have one question over here in the back.
I'm going to circle back around to what was actually earlier. Yesterday down in Austin, Briscoe Kane talked about a charity set at the ballot. Did you hear him say that yesterday?
I have not, no.
Well, even the legislation got passed, he had putting out the articles, and he still has to stress the issue of voter suppression, because Governor Abbott is unsigned this legislation, do you find it offensive or even racist for a Texas state legislature to be talking about a purity test as a matter?
100%. And I think that you've seen certain members of the legislature speak in ways that is incredibly divisive, again, and I do think it's troubling, absolutely. And admittedly, I'm not gonna be the person that sits in here and say, I know all about it. I'll go back and read the article, the Texas Tribune and other informal reports to understand what happened yesterday. But if that's the case, how damaging for this country, right? We cannot go backwards. Now is the time to look forward and allow people to feel welcome and safe, especially when it comes to exercising their democratic right to vote. I'm sorry that happened, and I will look into it. Representative Kane's comments. It's awful. Thank you.
Thank you. Give it a hand. All right, there's also a runoff for City Council District 9, and we have both candidates here. And this time, I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth Beck. Come on up.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me out once again to speak with you. My name is Elizabeth Beck, and hopefully on June 5th, I will have the honor of being your next City Councilwoman for District 9. The city of Fort Worth is where I was raised. It's the city that saved me. It is the city that I love with everything in my body. And it is the reason why I am running to represent you in District 9. Growing up wasn't easy for me here in Fort Worth. My parents struggled with drug addiction, and I lived with food insecurity. I knew what it was like to get eviction notices, but I was lucky because I had a community that took care of us. The city of Fort Worth, the people that lived here, the opportunities that were given to me as a girl in Wedgwood allowed me to stand here today, a veteran of the United States Army Reserves. I spent a year in Iraq. I have a master's in city and regional planning and a law degree from Texas A&M School of Law. None of that would have been possible if people hadn't looked out for me. And I am running because I want to make sure that you have someone on city council that looks out for you, so that every child in this city, no matter where they live, no matter what their circumstances are, has the opportunity to succeed. And we've got a lot of work if we want to make sure that happens. We have got to make sure that every child across the city has what they need to be successful in school. Now, I'm not running for school board, and I can't change what happens in the classroom. But what I can do is make sure that the city of Fort Worth is wrapping around the communities that need it the most, so that every child has what they need to be successful outside of the classroom. So when they walk through that school door, they're ready to go. They're ready to learn, and they're ready to be successful, and they're ready to give back to Fort Worth and continue to provide prosperity to our city. I'm running to make sure that you have a voice on council. I can't say I know what's best for everybody, but I can say that I see you, and that I am here to listen. And that it is my job as councilwoman to not tell you what is best for you, but to go to you, and to listen, and to work with you to make sure that every community has what you think is best for you, not what I think is best for you. And I'm here to listen, and I'm here to learn, and I'm here to lead. Our city has some tough issues facing us. We're falling behind in our education, our commercial tax base. We have failed to provide a robust transportation system that allows people the opportunity for better jobs and better education. And we're going to have to double down on Fort Worth in the future to make sure we know where we want to go. And that's not going to be easy. And you need a leader at City Hall that has the courage to stand up and step forward and have those very tough discussions. But you also need a leader that knows when to stop and listen, and to learn, and to be there to support the community. And that is why I am running to be your next councilwoman from District 9. My name is Elizabeth Beck. I appreciate your support once again. Early voting starts May 24th. We came out of this runoff incredibly strong with almost 43% of the vote in District 9. And we took almost every precinct from Oakhurst to Worth Heights. And I would really appreciate your vote once again. Thank you so much. Elizabeth Beck for Fort Worth is where you can learn more about me, and I'd love to take some questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Where are the questions? We will take 3 questions from the audience. Scanning. No questions? All right. Thank you. Can I get everybody to, let's be respectful of the speakers and the questions, please.
Hello, I don't care much identity politics. I don't care that you're a woman. I don't care that he's Hispanic. I know you want the best for that district. I know he wants the best for that district. In your opinion, why are you better than him? Why can I vote for you instead of him? It'd be the same question.
Well, I'm not going to tell you that I'm better than anybody. I think I'm a better fit for the job. I think Fernando's great, and I think as a human, I would be remiss to say that anyone was better. The reason that I think that I'm best served District 9 on council is my experience. I know what it's like to be marginalized. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to have people look out for you. And I bring that empathy with me to council in how I operate. I have a master's in city and regional planning. That doesn't make me smarter than anyone else in this race. It just means that I have a perspective on how a city should run on a global level, on that high policy 30,000 foot level. But I also have the ability to take that vision and turn it into a plan. It's not just words, but it's action, how we will get to where we need to go. And then I have the strength and the courage to take that plan and turn it into action so that we are doing what's best for this city. And that's why you want me to be your next council person.
We have a question here.
Hello. I wanted to know, do you volunteer anything in the north side? Is there something that you see that you can either help out our community? Is that
So I have not specifically volunteered for organizations in the north side. My community is the southern portion of the city, but I have volunteered in the city for efforts that help the north side. One of the things I do, we talked about Jim Crow 2.0 earlier. There was a question that we kind of sidestepped when asked about 2.0 Jim Crow. One of the things that I do in my free time when I'm not on the ballot is voter protection work. I've done that since 2014 to make sure that specifically our marginalized communities have access to the ballot box. And that is something that I've passionately worked on and done so here in the north side, and the south side, and the east side, and not just in Fort Worth, but Texas and nationally. And that's something that I will continue to work for because we do see the assault on voting rights happening at the state, and we're going to have to make sure that at the city we are doing everything we can to encourage voter turnout.
Thank you. Any more questions? We have time for one more. Nope.
I have a question.
Over here.
I'm a photographer and I shoot a lot of downtown Fort Worth, downtown Fort Worth Games, a lot of the events. I've been so blessed to do a lot of events here in this community as well as here in District 9. Just really quickly, and I know this isn't a north side thing, but this is a downtown thing, which is, again, really important to me as well. Downtown seems to be a little suffering since COVID, right? Lots closed down, especially Sundance. Do you have a plan about any of that as well? Because I mean, we're all looking forward to getting back to our parades and our big festivals we had in downtown too, 6th of Mayo. I mean, we were all together, right, Anita? So what do you think about that?
The entire city took a hit with COVID, particularly downtown, and we see downtown is still closed in many ways. But first and foremost, we have to make sure that we're getting our community vaccinated so that we can get back out to those large gatherings and have those beautiful events that Fort Worth is known for, particularly downtown. So as your councilwoman, I will work to and promote getting us vaccinated here in Fort Worth to make it safe for us to get back out in the community. And then we have to talk about downtown. COVID has changed the way that we operate in our workspace. Many companies, much like the office that I work at, are grappling with what we're going to do when the lease is up. Do we want to work at home? Or do we want to be back in the office? And downtown is largely Class A office. So we've got to make sure that we are getting out ahead of it. and looking forward to the future to see what that looks like so that we have a plan, so that we don't have empty office spaces. Because if we have empty office spaces, we have empty restaurants. If we have empty restaurants, we have empty stores, and then downtown vacant. So we have to ensure that we are doing what we need to do to make that economic engine drive forward. And that's ensuring that we have those offices filled to capacity, and that we don't forget that downtown is a neighborhood. There are 10,000 people that live in downtown, and we have to make sure that we're supporting them as well so that it thrives and that it continues to be that beautiful space that we all love to visit on a regular basis.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize we've been joined by Fort Worth City Council Member Carlos Flores as well as. And I forgot to talk about my better half, Dallas County Commissioner Dr. Eva Garcia. The other candidate for City Council is Fernando Peralta. Fernando.
Buenos días. Lo puedo traducir todo si quieren, porque me dicen. Voy a empezar, tú sabes, not with the same speech that I've always given. I feel like, you know, for me, one of the biggest things that really gets me going, gets me fired up, is working in the community. And a lot of the faces that I see here are the same faces that I've been working with the last several years in our community. You know, you have Deborah and Maddie up here. You know, and one of these ladies is going to be elected mayor. That's a fact. All right? And I want to continue the work that I've already been doing in our community next to these two ladies. We need a candidate who understands our community. Here's another fact. District 9 is a Latino opportunity district. Fact. Another fact. It's been a Latino opportunity district since the 70s. That's 40 years. And we've had multiple candidates run for District 9 and they don't get elected. Our city is at a pivotal time right now where we can bring real change to our community, so we actually have a voice from our community. We have to step up. You know, the north side y también en the south side. You know, I've been doing work in our homeless community. I've worked with multiple nonprofits. I'm the president of the largest Hispanic neighborhood association and a sergeant in the Texas Army National Guard, involved in our schools. You know, doing the work day to day. I didn't just show up the other day and say, "Boo, I'm gonna run for office." I've been doing this work. My community was the one that asked me to step up. And you know what? But let's do it. We need to have real conversations in our city that are going to lead to real change. And that real change is going to lead to real people getting in office here in Fort Worth. It's about time. We have to bring our businesses, our small businesses, our Hispanic businesses, our black businesses to the conversation. We need to keep our neighborhoods like Rosemont, like Fairmount, like Oakhurst, Worth Heights, Dios mío. These communities need to be part of the conversation. And I'm not saying, when I say bring people to the table, I'm not saying, I'm sorry, your time is up. I'm saying let's make this table bigger. All right, this is what we need in Fort Worth. We talk about diversity. Why do you like diversity? When we talk about investing in our most disenfranchised neighborhoods, I got $3.1 million for Rosemarks. For our streets, for our sidewalks, for lighting. God advocated for Wi-Fi for our students during this COVID pandemic. So, because Wi-Fi, y'all, is a luxury. Not everybody has Wi-Fi. You know what? And so we need to, boots on ground. Boots on ground. That's what I've been doing. I have no problem getting my hands dirty. And I want to continue doing this work. But it's going to take everybody in this room. Because you know what? I can make it to the runoff. We made it to the runoff. So again, if you want to know more about me, I'm everywhere. Just catch me. I was running this morning because I couldn't do the countdown. I mean, I'm everywhere, y'all. And I'm going to keep continuing being everywhere because that's what it takes to be the next city council person for District 9. I'm going to keep continue being what we need to be, having the conversations that we need to keep having, and help bring our communities forward together. So again, my name is Fernando Peralta. Again, you can get more information about me on my website. You can volunteer, you can donate. Let's do this. Thank you.
Thank you. We got time for 3 questions. Do we have any questions? We have a question back over here. Again, I ask everybody to please be respectful and quiet for the questions and the answers. Thank you.
Hello, good morning everybody. My name is Lina Renaud. I'm coming from Austin, Texas, especially for this occasion. I know that it's the perfect time for elections. And I see many familiar faces all over. And my question remains the same, not just here in Forward, not just in Dallas, but all over the state. All over the state. What happens with police accountability? You say that if you get elected, all of us get elected. What about the countless victims that have died under the yoke of power? And many of them have been members of your family. What about that? What about the fact that the governor just passed a law granting every single city who defunded the police being punished for demanding justice? I see the Black community, the Hispanic community coming together. That should have come centuries ago. Centuries ago. What are you going to do about that once you win?
Yeah. So once I win, I've already been doing the work because I do believe in police accountability. This is why I was a facilitator with the Police Oversight Monitor's Office and facilitating police and community conversations, because we need to start having real conversations because our people are hurting. I was also part of the panel that was doing the interviews for our next chief of police, and I was bringing real questions to them because there's real hurt in our community. And I'm going to keep continuing to have those real conversations with our police department, with our police officers, and with our community. Because again, it's going to take all of us. And so I've been doing the work, and when I get elected, I'm going to continue doing that work. Thank you for your question.
Are there any more questions? Do we have any more questions? All right. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is running for city council also. I'll let him introduce himself, Dr. Williams. Okay, and just one thing, as you all know, Forward Chorizo Breakfast, hosted, sponsored by LULAC 102, is a nonpartisan, nonprofit entity. I did reach out to current Councilman Junkus Jordan. He could not make it. He replied he had something else going on. So Mr. Williams obviously is here. So I just wanted y'all to be aware that the other candidates in the runoff were invited. Thank you.
Buenos dias, Northside. Oh, come on. Bring the seats, north side. By show of hand, where are all my mothers? Where are all my mothers? I wanted to, first I just want to tell each of the mothers in your happy Mother's Day weekend. Y'all are the backbone of our communities, and I thank you day in and day out for everything that you do for your families, for our kids, and for our community. It means the world to me. This weekend is a tough weekend for me because my mom is not here, but she's with the Lord. And growing up in Southwest Fort Worth, I was raised by a mother, a black mother that was strong, that was fierce. She was a second grade teacher in District 6. And two things she loved was literacy, and even more than that, investing in kids. And so I honor my mom, I honor each of you for the amazing impact that you've had on your children. Growing up in Southwest Fort Worth, I also was raised by a father, and being here on the north side gives me so much energy and so many memories. My dad started his career as an educator here on the north side at Northside High School. And I remember after school I'd catch a ride back to Northside High School from my school, and I would just sit with my dad and I would watch him staying late after school, investing in our kids, tutoring, mentoring. And I'll never forget one time I was in a classroom with him after school. And he said this, he said, son, he said, do good, come home, do good, and do it for your family, do it for your neighbors, do it for your neighbors, do it for your community. And so yeah, being in the community right here in Northside, it's not an option for me, right? And so when I think about those values of honoring our family, loving our neighbors, investing in our community, that's the work that we have to do here, right? When I graduated from North Carolina High School, I went off to Fort Valley State University. It's an HBCU in Georgia. And I came back home to do good, and for the past 12 years, that's what I've been doing, fighting on issues that are really important, especially to our community of color. Issues like public education and ensuring that our race and our zip code don't determine the quality of education that we have in our neighborhood. Issues like hunger, ensuring that not only we're serving the line, but we're also shortening the line by doing things like providing grocery stores and farmers markets in the hearts of neighborhoods. Fighting on issues such as housing and ensuring that housing isn't an option, but it's an opportunity that we can invest in more families, especially those that are most vulnerable and in between homes. And so I fought on so many issues, not for myself, not for me, myself, and I, right? But because that's the power to win. The power to win is not in council, right? The power to win is in the community. And each of y'all showed that this past weekend with the election results. In District 6, for example, we saw 10,000 people get out to vote, which is, in my estimation, never happened in District 6 because of the power of community, right? The power to win is in our votes. And so, 11 months ago, I did something crazy. I decided to run for office and start my campaign 11 months ago. And the reason I did that, it was a marathon, but the reason I did that was because I understood that in order to solve the tough issues that we face, our families face, our communities face, it takes the work of knocking on doors, ringing on phones, and asking what issues are important to you and what is your hope for Fort Worth. And you know what I constantly heard? My neighborhood. And for too long, we've been focused on how to build a prosperous city, but we've left behind neighborhoods trying to do that. And I don't think that's okay. And so when I think about how do we build a just and prosperous Fort Worth, it starts by building strong neighborhoods. And how do we do that? I'm glad you asked. My neighbors told me it's by bringing jobs into District 6 into our neighborhoods, right? We're a commuter district. My wife included has to drive an hour to outside of the district for a job that's not available in our district. Imagine if that job was here. When we look at the pandemic, we've seen our small businesses hurt. One of my favorite donut shops is $8,000 behind in rent because they did their part to keep us all safe, shutting their doors down, and didn't get the relief that they needed. And now they're on the brink of closing their doors, and I say that that's not okay. So we got to invest in our small business. I love kids, right? And our kids are our future. And there's one program, the Sausage Shop. I don't know if y'all have ever been in Southwest Fort Worth. If you haven't, you gotta go. They have a program called Kidpreneur. And basically this program is designed to help kids start their businesses right now, not later. Imagine if incubators all over the city for kids to start their businesses right now, for families to start the businesses that they've always dreamed of, and to do it right here in our neighborhoods, right? The other thing I heard from our community, and it's been brought up, is neighborhood safety. And let me tell you, let's not allow the politic and the political game to reduce this to dollars and cents on budget. When we talk about neighborhood safety, we have to ensure that our neighbors have a seat at that table, because frankly, we know what safety means in our neighborhoods and what we need. And so when we talk about accountability and police monitors, yes, we should have accountability at the city level, but we should also have accountability at district and neighborhood levels, right? With our neighbors having seats at those tables and ensure that we get the kind of safety that we need. Other thing is, this election is not just about like the next 2 years. It's not about another 2 years. It's about the next decade. The council that we elect is going to decide the kind of representation that we have for the next 10 years, which is going to affect the next 10 years, which is going to affect the next 10 years. And so if we talk about what does it take to build a just and prosperous city, it starts with our vote. We can talk about all of the issues that affect our family, but until we elect representation that reflects the vision and the values of our community, and that's willing to roll up their sleeves and be in the community and walk and work and walk and work and walk and work, we won't get the change we see. And so I have a challenge for you. I have a challenge for you. Vote. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a pledge. Everyone raise your right hand. I don't see all my hands yet. I promise to vote. I promise to tell 3 friends to vote. I promise to vote for Dr. Jared Williams. Oh, y'all didn't give me no feedback. Come on. Voting is that important. I'll never forget, a couple weeks ago, I was in a thunderstorm. I'm a little crazy. I had my poncho on. I was out knocking on doors. And this lady, I'll never forget, she asked me, she said, "You're in the rain?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because your vote is that important." I'll say it again. Because your vote is that important.
Is your vote that important?
We'll say it again. Your vote is that important.
Does your vote that important?
Y'all not catching on. Let's go. Your vote is that important.
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 I gotta have energy because this is a runoff. I'm a little tired. I've been doing this 11 months, but your vote is that important.
Your vote is that important.
Okay, we're getting there. Your vote is that important.
Your vote is that important.
So then let's vote. Let's turn out the vote. Let's get thousands to the polls, and let's take a seat that was never designed for our communities, and let's create transformation all across the city. Let's do it.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
Oh.
You trying to go vote?
I dropped the mic. I forgot.
You're good. Do we have any questions? Going once? Go. We got one. Professor.
Same question.
Hey, let's do it.
I mean, on the record, we want to know your position on immigration. Same question I'm asking since nobody stood up. I mean, we have the same issue. It's the monkey in the room, immigration. So we want to know your stand on S4, sanctuary cities, 2017. What is your stand on what's been going on and what has been the status quo in Fort Worth and in Tarrant County with regard to profiling undocumented residents? So we want to hear your official position. Thank you.
Yeah, I stand in solidarity with you, brother. That has to stop. Let's make Fort Worth the sanctuary city. Say no more.
There was that the answer to your question? It sounded like you had like 3 parts to it. That's good.
Preguntas más?
Anyone else? Anyone else? Once, going twice? All right. He gets the vote.
Thank y'all so much. Hope everybody votes. Let's do it.
Our next guest speaker is running for school board and I'm going to let him come up and introduce himself. Caleb? Yes. Come on up.
All right. Thank you. Man, what a great group of candidates. Isn't it amazing and really nice to listen to all these folks and how excited they are? I think we've really got a great future forward. Let's give them a round of applause. I mean, Garrett's great. So excited to listen to you. I'm going to embarrass myself because I'm not near as good as Jared is. I'm not near as good as Fernando is or any of these candidates. My name's Kate Lovelace. I'm running for Fort Worth ISD Trustee District 9. I want to talk about the things that are important to me and important in running this race. Fort Worth ISD, the reason I'm running is because I have a kindergartner and a fourth grader, and for them, and for all students in Fort Worth ISD, I want the best schools and a bright future. Fort Worth ISD, secondly, Fort Worth ISD must open safely and get kids back in the classroom. That's the best way they're going to learn. Third, Fort Worth ISD must celebrate the diversity that exists within it. We've got to actively decrease the achievement gap